All right, everybody, welcome out to another episode of Windshield Time at Mountainland Supply. I'm Joey. I'm here with Brandon, our CEO. Spencer Shorts of Sorts.
Hello, hello.
That's enough out of you. And today we're here with Zach Blackburn. So
Hello,
Zach,
all of you.
welcome on board.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, of course. So Zach has been here. You're over 20, so how many years?
27 years this week.
This week?
Wow.
This week.
Ah, sweet. So 27 years. For those who are left at the company, you're pretty far up there in terms of tenure.
I'm feeling it when I get out of bed lately.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel older and older every day. So when I first started at Mountainland 20 years ago, we didn't really have defined roles in warehouse. It was kind of everybody did a little bit of everything. But you, for lack of any better term today, you were like the assistant warehouse manager.
Okay. Yep.
Ish, right?
Yeah.
Zach was the number 2 when Louis Morales, who was running the warehouse and shipping, wasn't around, right?
Yep.
So usually at the end of the day, when Louis had gone or whatever, Zach was the one who would get trucks in for the evening and load it up for the next morning.
Correct.
So I, in full disclosure, was so intimidated by Zach when I first started working here. And those of you who know Zach, like Zach's one of the warmest people ever. But Zach's voice is super deep. He used to wear a backwards hat back then. He used to have more hair back then, bleached, sometimes
And
bleached
like
in
50 pounds less chiseled muscle.
just cut up from the butt up. And always wore camo shorts from what I could remember.
Yep.
Cargo shorts.
Yep.
Anyway, so Zach was an intimidating sort. So while I respected and wanted Zach to be my friend immediately, I was very intimidated. So thanks for treating me nicely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But Zach's also one of the most helpful people for my entire career. He's always been somebody who's been super kind. And when I would have questions, starting out, I came off of a farm. So the closest thing that I knew about Mountainland was that they sell like agricultural products, because we would come here and we'd buy mainline pipe and stuff from Mountainland for the farm. And that was a minority of the things that I was delivering when I first started as a delivery driver.
Yep.
So Zach's one of the guys who would, go out and help me, show me exactly what things were, why they did it, because we'd have to write up our own returns and we'd have to have a little bit of knowledge on that.
Exactly.
So why don't you tell us kind of what brought you to Mountainland?
Well, when you started, you knew a lot more than I knew when I started.
Yeah.
Like a few other people have said, this is supposed to be a summer job for me.
For sure.
I graduated. I had to look it up this morning. I graduated on May 30th, which was a Friday.
Yeah.
From class of 1997, American Fork.
Caveman.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know.
Hey, Lone Peak wasn't open at the time.
I'll
would've
give
gone
you
to
that.
Lone
I'll
Peak.
give you that.
He was in Alpine. He would have gone to Lone Peak.
He would have. So, as many of our listeners know, I went to Lone Peak, and AF and Lone Peak, they're rivals now.
Yeah.
But back in the day, where it was just only American Fork. So, I actually have siblings that went to American Fork as well. But
Okay.
so
we're
you're
good.
okay. You're okay.
All right.
Now, the most important person in my life, my wife,
She's a cave woman.
she went to AF, but that was after the split, so I have to hold it against her.
You've got something you can hold against her at all times, right?
You got to have something. Got to have something.
In-house rivalry.
But what's worse, hopefully Jackie's not listening, but she's going to listen to this. She went to Lehigh.
Those pioneers.
She was a pioneer.
Yeah.
That, in my book, is way worse than American
Sacrilege.
Fork.
Yeah, I didn't take much stock in, mascots and the sports in school when I was going through, but it was always those purple pioneers.
What was your thing in high school? What did you do?
I had a group of friends.
Were you like skater or
No, I was somewhere in the middle.
Just did whatever?
Somewhere in the middle, yeah.
just there for the party?
Yeah, I didn't participate in high school sports. Our county had a hockey team.
Oh, yeah.
Ice hockey. I played that.
Really?
Yeah, I played that for my senior year.
I never knew that about you.
Yeah, I can't stand on skates today.
You know what? We can go watch a Utah hockey team game
I
together.
know. I'm getting excited about that.
It's awesome, huh?
Are you in favor of that? Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm
Did you
excited.
vote for the name?
I have not voted. I'd say the Yetis. It's got a
I
nice ring
say
to it.
either the Yetis or the Mammoths.
Yeah.
I thought those are cool names.
Yeah.
anything but something with two Z's. Like, I hate
come on,
crap.
blizzards.
I'm so sick
Come
of the two
on.
Z's. Freaking Calvert voted for blizzards, and he's like, and you know why he did? Because he's like, oh,
It has
I
two
always
Z's.
thought that I'd go get a blizzard after the game, and I'd say I just got a blizzard after the Blizzards game. I'm like, you can get a freaking blizzard after a Mammoth game, dude. Come on, man.
You don't have to
I'm
wait
so
for a
sick of
blizzard.
the two Z's, like the freeze.
The freeze.
Jazz.
Dude, I'm going to start spelling my name with two Z's.
Yeah. Stingers. Zach. Zach.
Can we get my rider initials changed?
Yeah, done deal, dude. Anyway, that was a big digression. But so graduated May 30th.
Graduated May 30th, which was a Friday.
Yep.
I had a cousin that I was pretty tight with who worked here at the time as a driver, and he had told me that he was joining the Marines.
Really?
He had neglected to tell his boss here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What position was he at?
He was a local driver. He
Okay.
drove south.
So he didn't tell Lewis?
He did
back
not
then?
tell Lewis. But he said, hey, there's going to be this position open if you want to go apply for it.
Nice.
Can't guarantee it. They don't even know I'm leaving. So
That's hilarious.
as history would have it, he, if I remember right, he left a note on Lewis's desk.
No.
Yeah. And said, I'm
Dear
off to
John,
the
I'm
Marines.
right there.
I'm off to the Marines. I've got this younger cousin. He might show up here. He's a good kid.
Be aware he is wearing cargo khaki shorts or camo shorts. He's a
At
little
the time,
scary.
I wasn't. I think the cargo camo shorts came
They were
in
later.
as-
They
They
were
were
later
they were
generation.
homage to Rambito,
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Brandon
Brandon
Keach,
Keach.
who always
Rambito.
wore the full length BDUs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's his shtick.
Can't have too many pockets working in the warehouse.
Oh, you can't. It's a problem.
And not enough knives.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So delivery driver.
so a delivery driver, and I called Lewis that day, maybe a couple hours after he had found said note. He was less than happy with my
Yeah,
cousin.
I'm sure he was.
He's like, he
can
ain't gonna
imagine.
cut it in the Marines if he can't even quit to my face.
I can hear Lewis saying it now, man.
He's like, you want to come in and
You
try
gonna
your
be any
hand
better?
at it? Yeah, basically the same thing. But to give my cousin credit, he served a full 20 plus years in the Marines.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cow.
and he's on the
Awesome.
civilian side doing similar stuff now.
Really?
Yep.
Nice.
So he did make it. But I came in that Monday. I think I came in around noon or something.
Mm-hmm.
Interviewed with Lewis. He says, let's roll.
So graduated on a Friday, came in on Monday.
Came in on Monday,
Nice.
and I didn't know if it was going to be a start next week thing. He's
Yeah.
like, hey, let's send you to WorkMed. At the time, we were using a temp agency.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, go get filled out with them.
Yep.
And
I started the temp agency too.
Yeah, and he said, come back in when you're done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, graduated on a Friday, essentially started on a Monday, maybe officially started that Tuesday morning. It's
Crazy, dude.
And when Joey reached out to me this morning to see if I'd come in, I had a whole lot going on, but I kind of looked at the date, and so that date that I started was the 2nd. What's today, the 4th?
Yeah.
I don't know when this will air, but today is June 4th.
Yeah.
So I couldn't say no.
That's awesome,
I could
dude.
never say no.
I appreciate you not saying no.
But yeah, so 27 years
Today.
to the week.
That's crazy.
That's freaking awesome.
I love it.
So, started as a local driver.
Started as a local
Back
driver.
then, I mean, you did locals for a long time, like at least a year.
There
back
was
then.
there was not the
Upward mobility.
upward mobility. Yeah, it wasn't turnover because people didn't
No,
quit.
there wasn't enough business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I want to say I drove that south run for at least 2 years,
Yeah.
maybe 2.5.
Yeah.
From there, I've kind of
So
hit
south was south of Springville back then,
Oh,
right?
it was a huge,
Huge.
area.
Where all, I mean, Spanish Fork, Payson, where tons of the growth was happening. That's where that was.
Yeah, it was kind of expected of every driver to get 3 runs
3
in
runs
a
a
day.
day, baby.
And you would be from 7 a.m. on the road till
6:30.
6:30 p.m. and sometimes only get 2 runs in.
Yeah, you're humping.
Yeah, from Springville.
I mean, you go to
Sometimes
Alberta.
Genoa.
Yep.
All those places. So
Yeah.
did that for many years. Next stop on the train was 2 tons.
Yep.
It was before we had stores all over the state. So I would drive to Vernal on Mondays.
Yeah.
Stopping in
then
all
Heber.
day. Yep. Heber, and I'd go to Blanding, Moab on Wednesdays, and that was a trek at the time too.
Dude, it's such a
you'd leave here at 3 a.m.
Yeah, so we used to play tricks on people who would come in here for the Moab run because we were dumb and single and didn't have much going on. So we'd come in here at like 2 a.m. and wait for them. I mean, Zach was part of this too. Like this was after he was already off that run, but you'd break off toothpicks in the horn for first of all, when they had the pull down horn on the 2 tons, you'd tie a string to that so when they open a door, it would hit their air horn. At 2 a.m, that's a heck of a wake up call, right?
When you're in here by yourself, or so you think, and
everything makes noise.
High alert.
Oh, super scary. You're making the mad dash from the clock when you punch in to get into the truck.
Yeah, and we didn't have the LED lights we have now.
So it was pitch black.
It was pointless to turn on lights because it would take them 5 minutes to warm up.
Yeah.
So you just wander your way through the dark over to the pipe aisle till you could
through
get in
pallets
your truck.
and forklifts and
just waiting for the boogeyman to jump out and get you.
So we would play boogeyman sometimes and lay in wait for the poor Moab driver.
Oh, so it's such good memories.
Yep.
But did that for probably another good 2 to 3 years, that run. And then came in and pulled tickets for a while.
Yeah.
And then I went out and managed the yard for a while.
Yeah.
And then I drove semi for a couple years, which was probably one of my favorite positions.
Me too.
So good. And then came back in and did assistant warehouse manager and dispatch, and then spent some time on the counter, inside sales, and now
outside sales.
Presently outside sales.
So back then we didn't have, when you were dispatch, I mean, we had CB radios, and then we were kind of migrating to Nextel with the push to talk. So you had, back then, sometimes you'd be carrying 4 devices. Because you had the mobile counter phone, you had the CB radio, you had the Nextel, and then you had a cell phone.
Yeah.
So you'd be carrying all 4 of those devices, and you'd sometimes have a call on every one of them. So you'd walk in, Zach could have a phone to his ear, the CB radio in his hand, the Nextel here, and he's trying to have 3 conversations at once and doing it. I mean, I think I still have pictures of Zach. We had a Polaroid back then. There's tons of Polaroid pictures.
Yeah, there's some good
of him
just floating around.
Balancing all these conversations at once.
Oh, nobody could do that balance though better than Louis.
Oh, Lewis was the best, man.
Yeah.
He was awesome. So you have a unique way of selling to customers. I mean, I guess it's unique in the way that you are able to maximize your relationship and your organizational skills to really add value to the customer. And whether you realize it or not, that's just how I view you and your approach. Would you say that's kind of the way you work it?
Yeah, I think so. And
like if you go to a customer and you're like, hey, you have a lot of places you can buy from, but why would they choose to buy from you in Mountainland?
I try to, they say measure twice, cut once.
Yep.
To my fault, I sometimes measure 10 times and cut once, but it's always one cut.
That's the beauty of Zach.
It's always one cut.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to be involved. I like to know what's going on. I like to, when a customer calls me and says, I need this hydrant or this tie-in, I want to, even if I'm not in front of a computer, I want to know that I've looked at that sheet, and I want to be able to go to it in my mind and kind of know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So I like to be involved that way. I like to know what's going on, and then I like to have my own organization system to kind of maintain those jobs from start to finish.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Zach is always consistently one of the top salespeople at the company. He's always fighting for first or second in terms of revenue. So your system you've created works. You built a ton of loyalty with that customer base.
I would say, like, I've ran into some of your customers. I mean, we see them around and
all the
everything
time,
like that. And I actually might have a few, like, in my neighborhood.
Yep.
And it's one of your larger customers.
Correct.
And I mean, I've talked to him about you, and I mean, they speak very highly of you. And I think that's that's their top thing, is because it's very complex.
Mm-hmm.
What they're looking for and some of the needs that they have. They have huge projects, things of that nature, and they know that they can just rely on you. He's told me that. He's like, I just know if I tell Zach this is what I need, he's like, I know I'm going to get the right part. I'm going to get the right thing. They're going to spec it out right, whatever it is. Zach looks through it. He's very thorough. And so I've heard that from your largest customers, that's what they like about you.
Anybody you talk to that works with Zach, that's the thoroughness and the attention to detail.
And there's there's customers out there that you need to be like that with.
Yeah. 100%.
And there's some that, they're kind of willy-nilly and they fly by the seat of their pants. So
and you can mirror that too.
You can fly by the seat of your pants,
Sure.
but there's others that do not do it that way. And they're just more complex or larger, things of that nature. And you excel at that in that area.
Well, that's good to hear. If a customer can humor me through all my questions to get it right the first time,
I was supposed to
things
bring
goes
up
very smooth.
I was supposed to bring something up about pizza though.
Oh yeah, yes, yeah. We had a big misfire my first year, with not to the fault of anybody here at Mountainland. We're going to throw Pizza Hut under the bus on
Pizza
this
Hut. That's all right. They're not listening.
Do we have time to do the story?
Of course, bud.
So, my first year calling on this customer, we were doing a public workers appreciation week. And part of what we do to celebrate that is we send pizza to their public works department.
Right.
I couldn't be there that day. So we trusted Pizza Hut to come through, which they did not.
Yeah, they can't even get a crust right, dude.
Yeah. It's Domino's for me.
Absolutely.
Papa Murphy's,
Mm-hmm.
Papa
Murphy's.
Papa John's.
P. John's.
Yeah, P.
That's my
John's.
dog right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we ordered, I can't remember how many pizzas it was. We ordered, and we had like 50 people at the Public Works building gathered at noon.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing whatever I had committed to, and I get a phone call from the Public Works director. And he's like, pizzas aren't here. And I'm like, I look, and it's
Past time.
10 after.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh boy. And he's like, yeah, we got people sitting here wondering what's going on. So I try calling Pizza Hut. I'm getting their automated system.
Mm-hmm.
So I call our marketing department at the time, and they're like, yeah, we've got the receipt here. We said it needs to be delivered at noon. They did everything right on their end.
Mm-hmm.
Neither one of us, we both start calling Pizza Hut, could not get through to them. And clock's just ticking. And I'm in the middle of a meeting with another customer at the time. So I'm trying to do this. She's trying to do this. We finally get a hold of Pizza Hut. They had just opened their doors. I think the dude that was opening was 20 minutes late.
Oh, my gosh.
So he's just warming up the ovens. And needless
3
to
hours.
say, yeah, it didn't happen. They spent their whole lunch hour
Just looking at each other.
Getting
more
with
pissed at Mountainland the whole time.
empty Lifetime tables.
Oh, man.
And I was not there. Like, that's what drove me crazy about it, is I was not in the vicinity to remedy it.
Yep.
We made it up to them like 2 weeks later. We did a big hoorah with pizza and ice cream and the whole deal. But ever since then, I've learned not to place my trust in pizza places. The last 3 years, we've continued to do this for that customer.
Yeah.
But we place the order. I call the night before, confirm the order's there, which it's always has been.
Mm-hmm.
I ask them who's going to be opening the next morning.
What's their name?
Where do they live? Which window is theirs?
Yeah, exactly.
And then I call right when they open. I'm just saying, hey, we're still on track for me, and I pick them up. Hey, I'll be there at 11:30. We good to have all 30 pizzas ready? And it's gone pretty seamless.
Measure 10 times, cut once.
But that's exactly what Zach is, right? And he told me this story, by the way, and it was, but he told it jokingly, right?
Yep.
But I think it illustrates, though, just in a simple way of, this is Zach.
Yeah.
Hey, that didn't work. Is out of my control. I'm going to make sure that it's in my control from here on out.
Yep.
I'm going to call before I'm going to pick it up and take it there. I mean, that's just true form of Zach.
Yep.
It's awesome.
So you obviously didn't learn all of that at once. You didn't learn every product at once. What would you tell somebody who's out there, who's a young person starting out at Mountainland? How are they going to get to where you're at someday?
I would say slow down enough to pay attention to what you're pulling, and how does it play in. If there's somebody there that's got seniority on you, that knows more than you, see if they have a minute to teach you. When I came up through Mountainland, I had a lot of people, Lewis, Lance Pope. They would take the time to show you the part, show you how it differentiates from the part next to it on the shelf,
Yep.
and how it's used. And you know, if you're just out there pulling parts, if you're pulling a barcode, it doesn't mean anything. But if you take time to learn it, and as you go through, try to excel at whatever your job is. Make the most of it. Try to do your best you can at it. One thing as I was coming up through, returns drove me nuts.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in the warehouse and had to process the return, when I had to restock the return, when I was a driver and I'd have to pick up the return.
Filthy returns.
Filthy returns coated in dried mud, just the worst. And so I kind of made a commitment to myself. If I'm ever in sales, I will not have returns. Well, that's kind
It's
of
the name of the game
impossible
sometimes.
so that's why I measure 10 times, cut once, because
I love it, dude.
returns still drive me crazy. So my goal is to have minimal returns.
That's awesome.
So,
Love it.
You're the best of the best, dude. Thanks for
appreciate
spending
it.
some time with us.
Absolutely.
Shorts, you going to name this one? Zach Blackburn, measure 10 times, cut once.
All right.
Will you spell it with 2 Z's, please?
This is Zach Blackburn. All right, bud. Thanks for being here.
All right. It's a pleasure. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks, Zach.
All right. Thanks for spending some windshield time with us, and we'll catch you down the road, guys.
See you, everyone.